Last bullet not going to be enough, as Teddy says. Yeah, my fourth bullet though, that one hurts. All right, T1 just back away. Looks like some resets to come in as we have Canna finishing off his DRX.
And it's the amount of restraint we haven't really seen from T1. I want to say in the entirety of Summer, maybe in their match against T1ㅣKT, but look, identifying that change of corruption comes through, then peeling back and not going into aggressively, which definitely is something that you'd be kind of tempted to do, because there was Flash and Ultimate available, right? There's a showstopper, but they don't really need to fight it. They don't really need to throw. There's not really a reason for them. They forced the teleport from King in, and that's something that I wanted to go into, is that no one, even with the state of the game right now, I think wins the 1v1 straight up against King and when he's in the sideline. Has gone for Nash's tube as well. It's going to get tankier and more of a nuisance to deal with.
Yep.
So forcing out a teleport is actually super huge for T1 because it relieves so much of the side laning pressure that the Gwen might otherwise have. Now she's forced to join the rest of the team. Faker and Kana both have teleports, so there's no such restraints for them, and allows T1 to set up a great side lane state going into this next Drake. And as the DRX, their topside vision on the map is pretty good. Maybe you want to go for a risky play on the Baron. It's not great, but I feel
flippin' time? You reckon it's flippin' time?
Well, with the state of the game right now, I think that giving T1 another objective and maybe a kill or two is also going to be the end of your story in this game as DRX. So it's not great, maybe.
Stemming the bleeding certainly could be an idea, as we do have 22 seconds on that Drake.
It's more like cutting off your own arm and then trying to like beat your opponent with it, right? And hoping it works, because it's not a plan with a lot of longevity.
We're out of weapons, quick!
We need to get something going.
Oh, that's bleak. That is very bleak.
It is.
As okay, speaking of which, Faker going on in here as Solarflare doesn't get too much work done as Faker's staying alive for so long. Bow's in trouble. The Haymaker will do it. Faker eventually falls down, but it kind of feels like he's done his job. Solka going to be taken out of this one as well. So far, it's going to be a pretty even trade. Both solo lanes, though, dead, and it's Bow that's dead instead of Kingin. So what can Teddy do to answer this one? Looks like right now they're going for a bit of a disengage just because no Moonfall available anymore. Teddy at full health. No more fighting.
So he just needs to hit an auto on someone, and then they are basically immediately out of contention. Ooh, this is a big one though, because that was a bit of overextension. We see that Faker has a stopwatch available as well. Yep, that was that's what happens when the 4 immediately hit you. Yep. And this is really good that T1 is actually able to get this, because I think DRX could have looked for it, but this is where the teleport disadvantage comes in, right? Because Soka won't be there in time. Kingin might be, but he doesn't have the teleport available, whereas we now see Faker, Kana, both going to use those. They recognize we need to get this objective.
Yep, they are going to be able to secure it as well. So 2 dragons apiece, T1 with a set. Couple of those Infernals, certainly going to be feeling good, as they could stack up 4 of them this game. That would be a very hefty Infernal Soul, as we're going to get the replay once again. Faker just going in real deep, and this fight just gets split up into a couple of different portions.
And I think that Faker and Kana could have, if the rest of the team was more on the same page, could have just stopwatched. But now seeing it again, I'm actually happy he didn't, because he would have died anyway. The rest of the team was too busy dealing with the Renekton. And that was just expertly played by DRX, right? You had the Locket coming from Becca, the immediate exhaust on top of Faker, Bao using his summoners to get away from there. So all in all, it did actually work out decently for DRX, but they don't get the objective because the members from T1 that were still alive are just too big of a threat, right? As long as Teddy's alive, you're never going to feel good.
The summoner spell advantage also very, very powerful here for T1, as you mentioned earlier. I think that is definitely a great way for T1 to play around what was an even fight that they just win by default. And I love it when that happens. It just shows that they understand the game state and they're able to work out just how many risks they're capable of taking. And this is something that T1 used to be good at, but hasn't so far been as adept at in the LCK for Summer. So good to see. Now it looks like the sights are set on the Baron. Very good sidestep to avoid the spear from Kyoshik. Let's see what's going to eventuate here. Is Teddy looking for something? Just wants to shoot people.
Just wants to get an auto off, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of the things about Jhin is, like, it feels really good when you can auto, but also into things like the Braum, it makes it so much harder for you. Gwen has immunity, Renekton in of itself isn't the the scariest thing, but it's mainly the setup he provides for the rest. The T1, they are going to start off this Baron. The poke is strong though from DRX. Faker coming in from the flank.
Yep, taking a lot of damage is the Baron. Might be dead just pretty soon. You can see down to 3,000 health. Now the Paranoia just to buy them space. They're bursting down the Baron, and DRX just had to give it up. No options there whatsoever, as now Kingen getting chunked. Even the needlework coming out, and gets absolutely nothing for it.
Defensive paranoias always make me happy, Atlas. It's a tool that is so versatile. The denial of vision means that as DRX, if you actually do go in there, it's like it's not even a flip, right? It's like a 100-sided die, and you're just
you're
desperately
aiming
rolling
for the
it.
20, and it's there's not even a 20 there. It just goes it goes up to 19, and then adds another 19. Oh,
yeah, that's
real sad.
Just not really anything you can do. And it's T1's good mid game that we were a little bit scared when the early game tempo turned into not a lot in the mid game, but now Teddy has 4 items, and Jin can be one of those champions where it feels like he doesn't have the biggest impact on the game. Generally, I can assure you that with his current items and form, he will be
These are very powerful items.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can say what you want about rapid fire cannon, but it is certainly helping out his crit quotient. And so things are absolutely fine.
Yeah. He's terrifying, and that goes for a lot of members on T1. Even Kana, who's getting close to the Titanic Hydra, is going to have absolutely absurd haymakers now. It's just a question, or rather, can T1 play this out cleanly? There is a lot of vision available for DRX, who are looking for a collapse.
I like these rotations, though, for T1. They're moving as a 4-man unit. They're allowing Kana to now just live in the opened up space. Sulker is going to be there to try and answer. This T1 just going to step on back, allow these minion waves to gather up again, and look for that pressure one more time. It looks like they're going to have to make another trek through the jungle to try and clear out vision. As Blastcone is going to get Cuz over as Teddy gets chunked. This poke landing can certainly turn the tides on these situations, and it looks like that has bought the space for DRX. See how it works, right? We saw 2 different Varuses yesterday. The one that did really well and the one that didn't. And hopefully Bao can get things together as this game goes on, because you can really turn things by landing that poke effectively.
It's the timing, but the fact that T1 got the 2 Drakes means that this isn't the situation that we've talked about. It happens a lot where it's just one fight and needs to go right as... Okay.
Wow. That's called revenge right there.
Yeah, that's for every Jin who has ever been hit by a spear ever. Like, take that, Nidalee.
Yeah, you jerk.
And we already talked about why it's bad for the DRX comp to fall behind in terms of the damage that they have available. But another problem that we didn't really talk about is this is a great siege comp, right? When they're playing up, when they're the one with control, it feels amazing because it's hard to engage into. But they're also don't have great engage themselves, and you saw that on the bot side, right? Like, how do you force something here besides maybe Solka teleporting in? It's not great. You need a lamp poke, and T1, they're looking for the hard engage.
Well, Kurt Cole going to come through here as Teddy's hunting for Bao. That backline. Core shot will just be doored, as T1 is just going to take care of that Drake. The old Paranoia teleport can come through here from Faker, as he is going to get on through as Cuz will lock down the Drake. And finally, Faker is going to turn up. He takes a lot of damage as we've got some miss down. T1, they keep everyone alive for the longest time as Sulka will fall at the end. Carrier, he's the one to go down for T1, but he will be the only one. And it's only Becca who survives on the side of DRX. I have a feeling this one is just over. Look at all of that fire underneath T1 right now.
And that is 3 Infernal Drakes, a 1-team fight, and Kana immediately teleports towards the top side of the map to slam down some turrets. Crucially finished the Titanic Hydra before the fight. You saw how much that Flash Haymaker did.
Yeah.
And it's Faker coming in from the back as well. T1 looking like the T1 we saw against DOGE, and that then strictly disappeared for a couple of matches. But here again, this first game against DRX, they are finally back.
Yeah, really great stuff. Congratulations to T1 taking down DRX in game number 1. They need to keep that up, keep this momentum moving forward, because remember what we said at the beginning, DRX have looked pretty much hopeless in the LCK so far. It's unacceptable for T1 to lose. This is a great start to this series, but they cannot let the momentum drop now. I do want to address, an assessment that I made at the beginning of the game. That was, I feel like it's weird to leave Rumble up. But if Cuz is going to do stuff like that on the Diana, totally okay with it.
Oh, you
absolutely
know, you know who I voted for. That's that wasn't a hard vote for me whatsoever. And I think as a whole, T1, that mid game, there was still more opportunity for pressure. And I think if you go back into this game as T1, that should still be a learning opportunity for you. Because I think for this team, there's a reason why our expectations are so high. It's because we know how good these players are. We know how good they should be when they are performing at their peak.
I mean, the same thing should be said for DRX as well, with what they were able to do in spring. However, we always saw the flaws, right? We understood. And
you in particular.
The sum of the parts of DRX didn't equal up necessarily based on what we'd experienced to what they were able to do in spring. Whereas the sum of the parts of this T1 roster should be doing far better than they have so far in summer. So looking forward to seeing how they are going to improve as we conclude round one over the next week and a half, as Teddy was angry. He was real angry this game.
Had a really good game, and with the DRX comp, if you don't get ahead, if your poke never reaches that critical mass, and even now, right, Yoshi had a pretty great game, all things considered. He had a couple of key spears on Teddy, but that in and of itself wasn't enough. They were never at the tempo advantages you kind of need with this comp, because as pointed out, if you're in position, if you're already set up shop at the Drake, you're throwing spears, you're denying vision, you are able to use your Brum to the full extent. T1 had a really hard time, but since T1 took control of this game ever since, I want to say that third Drake, right, where they went in, Cuz found Kingen, blew him up, the hard engage came through. There was nothing that DRX could really do.
Nope, no options, but needed T1 to play the comp out well, and they absolutely did. So they can hold their heads held high as we move towards a game number 2. We'll see whether we're concluding or extending this best of 3 after the break.
바로 잡았어 아래.
레넥.
기다리 웬 잘 봐야 돼. 웬 잘 봐야 돼.
궁 빠졌어. 내가 잡을게. 그냥 오지 마.
이거 미드 하면 끝날 것 같은데.
일단 탑텔 할게.
일단은 해보자 미드.
미드 하면 이거 좋긴 해 우리 지금.
바루스 클린즈 빠져서 플래시는 몰라.
나 밀어볼게. 얘네 바루스밖에 안 나오거든. 어때 이거?
할만해.
바루스 너플.
하다가
우리
탑으로 하도 되는데.
애매하면 10초에 빼자 그냥. 애매하면.
미드 밀어보자.
해보고.
나 미드가 좋아 보여.
우리 타워 치는 거 빠르긴 해.
우리 엄청 빨라. 미드 가고 싶긴 한데 이거.
끝나겠다.
끝내자.
얘 무조건 끝난다 이거.
묶어 타워만.
오케이.
야 스트리머다.
우리 저희가
타워.
빵. 네, 오케이.
야 개재밌겠다. 가자.
이기자.
이번에 생각하는 거 그거야. 미드 라이즈.
네네.
미드 바텀 주도권 있어.
가자!
죽여.
라이브 가면 돼?
가자.
라이브
너무
갈게.
그 정말 너무 다이브 가려고 하지 말고.
네.
알지? 평정심.
성장심.
미드 물렸다.
살만한가?
팔아보.
다음 주.
한거 같아. 갈래 이거 보내줄게. 보내줄게.
나이스.
나왔어. 나르 노플.
어때?
나이스.
야 미드 차이 오죠 지금. CHA 봐 CHA.
주연아.
사이드 계속 해.
사이드를 가. 어때요?
나이스. 나 나를 못 봐. 나 우디를 볼게. 나를 그래.
빅토르 노플.
나를 높을. 우디 잡았어. 용보자. 아 가지마.
아, 가봐. 그냥 해봐.
아 욕 먹자고. 용. 야 욕 먹자.
제껴.
야 스마. 야 싸워 또 다시 제껴. 빅토르. 나를 높을. 제껴.
주연아.
미드 차이로 이겼다.
괴물식 미드. 괴물 미드의 탄생. 그는이야.
아 얘가 갑자기 나한테 그 화장실 앞에서 만나야 김광희 컷 이러는 거야. 이따가 이기면은 그거 해라 다. 김영규 컷.
지옥까지 따라가서 해야겠다. 비명규 컷.
빨리 살인가 보다. 나 메가 돼서 상관없을 것 같아.
살면 좋을 때?
살 것 같아.
나 이거 우리 나를 쫓는다.
아 시간 엄청 오래 끌 듯.
나 펄뜨고 갈게.
빨리 높을. 살만하겠다.
나 잡을 것 같긴 해.
일단 나 살만하겠다. 나이스.
살았네.
얼른 가졌어.
빼자.
이거지.
너무 아쉬운데. 여기 나르거든. 이거 나르 보고 싶긴 해. 이거 그냥.
아 내가 먹었나?
내가 먹었어.
아 저 도둑놈이 있네. 야 트리 점프. 죽여. 트리 죽여.
김현규 죽이실 분.
나.
김현규 근데 그냥
안 되네. 아 얘는 죽여야 해 김영규는.
죽였어.
나이스.
수고하셨습니다.
수고. 한마디 해도 될까요?
네, 한마디 해주시죠.
김영규 컷.
근데 그거 아세요? 조금의 긴장은 사람을 강하게 만듭니다. 멋있어. 저한테 해줄 말씀 없으세요?
대포 놓치지 마.
괜찮냐? 어떤 갑이 빠진 거 있어? 그냥 궁. 오케이.
미드 걸린다.
미드? 고마웠어.
까비 괜찮아. 괜찮아. 너들 크면은 너가 더 잘할 거야. 상관없긴 해.
맞아.
별로야 저 챔프.
우리 세트 노는 거 기다려봐. 가자.
지금.
제이스.
무조건 제이스. 제이슨 잡았어.
잡았고.
나
이지리
해줄게. 여기 잡았고.
야 탑으로 가.
나이스. 얘들아 나 진짜 미안하다.
얘들아 잘했어. 아니야 잘했어.
너무 미안해.
최고였어. 야 이채원 진짜 긴장했다.
야 괜찮다고.
야 긴장 풀어.
괜찮다 했잖아.
아지레부터 먹게 해봐.
야 대박.
야 왼쪽
얘들아 나 믿음할게.
미드 밀었어 여기는.
고마운 친구들.
야 따라와봐. 한 명 오세요. 나이스. 나이스.
시원하다.
아지레부터 얘들아.
돌려 먼저 죽이고.
앞에 봐봐. 아지레.
앞에 거.
야 들어가자. 이긴다. 깔끔하게 끝냅시다.
오케이. 이판 바텀이 좀 잘했다.
고맙다. 상호가 다 했어.
재현이가 웃어서 그래.
샤이 잘했어. 나이스.
Hello and welcome back to the LCK Analyst Desk. I'm Subin, with me is Victory and Kuro. Hello, welcome. And this is Jason with the translation. It was a battle between two teams that are desperate to get a win to uncuff their losing streak, and T1 starts off strong. T1 ran a dive comp this time around with that first pick set. These days, Renekton is not getting removed. It's mainly because Xin Zhao is too OP right now, so now that teams are keeping their eye on that Xin Zhao instead of Renekton, a champion that has gone through multiple nerfs. Renekton and Nidalee are two best friends on the Rift, but DRX was not able to, pull off the Renekton Nidalee comp really well in the early game. And Varus is a champion that really requires a peel, They have to be a Tahm Kench or Thresh to protect him, but DRX didn't have any tools to protect their AD carry, so it was a very difficult comp to run for sure. And these days, Renekton is having a lot of failure in the LCK in the current meta, where a set is popping off. This champion, you can just press 3 buttons and you just lock down kills. You dominate team fights. However, DRX had 2 early Drakes, and that means you can actually diminish the power of the opponent's side pressure. They can force open team fights around objective later on, but T1 just outplayed team fights. DRX, someone had to, protect Varus, and someone had to dive onto that Jean on the opponent's side, but DRX couldn't set up a nice plan to execute in this game. They were having a bit of a trouble playing out this comp and finding access to the enemy backline. Here's the first highlight, where T1 was able to win a huge team fight. Diana was around there, and Kingen also had this information, but he went in so deep with a lot of confidence. So I think he kind of used his ultimate because he kind of panicked because he got collapsed on that Diana. So T1 sensed that Gwen was looking for that flank angle, and they easily denied her with the burst damage coming out from Diana. After that, DRX couldn't really stand to take the fight. Prior to this team fight, Jean didn't really have a good time. He didn't really get many kills, but after getting the triple kill, he was able to come online and exert some pressure on the Rift. And this is the second highlight. T1 wins another huge team fight. Once again, Set just practically solos that Varus in the back line. It's not about Kana making some massive outplay, it's more about Set just being too strong and too good. And also they got the Dragon stealing away from DRX. And looking at the DRX comp, you don't really have any method to protect your enemy AD carry, especially from that Set. DRX just had a very tricky and difficult comp. They had to make up a mind if they're looking for that objective, they're trying to open a team fight. Well, they didn't really solidify their spot. They couldn't really decide their mind, and in the end, T1 was the one getting the objective, but also winning the team fight. And let's check out who is going to be the POG on the side of T1. It's going to be Cuz on Diana. 3-0-5. And Cuz was everywhere on the map in this game, especially when his teammates needed him. And this is one of the best Diana performance we saw in the LCK so far. And taking the right amount of aggro, and being there always together with Nocturne in order to secure kills. And I think this was the highlight of the game, because Diana is not a champion that actually finds a lot of value if she uses the ultimate on just a single player. But in this team fight, she was able to actually find huge value because she was able to zone out the most fat member on the side of DRX, Gwen. Literally, there are 2 poke champions on the side of DRX, but they were not able to open team fight after getting some chunk damage onto the opponents. Rather, they got collapsed by the T1 players. Don't mind the small little vote over to Teddy too much, because 11 votes out of 12 with the Diana performance. T1 is so hungry for a win, but so is DRX. And now we're heading over to the second game of the series between DRX and T1, so stay tuned.
Thank you so much, Jisun, as usual, for the analyst desk translation. Big congratulations to Cuz. Bit of a media kick W there, but that's absolutely fine. I like that we introduced the media votes, and you know, they're still getting their sea legs, getting their footing. As Cuz fan in the audience there, putting up the jersey in the empty seat. We're at 20% capacity at the moment here at Lol Park. Soon, we will be opening things up. Got to make sure that it's slow, test the waters first, and then allow everyone to come back.
It's so good. It's just, it's been incredible, and we're not feeling good. DRX, unfortunately, and they are going for blue side yet again, but that first game, I think, is exactly the type of game you don't want. Right, because it feels like you have some moments, but as a whole, they never really were able to make the mark on the game, and I don't know what you do.
Let's give me something.
Well, tickets.
Isn't that Paul, not Bo?
I'm looking at just the tickets.
Oh, right, but I'm thinking of the word ticket.
Yeah,
right.
pure.
Yeah, that's what I thought, or at least close to thought. I want to see the third win. As in like maybe third game or something? Third win because they got all of their, each time they've been and seen T1 play, they want the third one, and that's all of the tickets that they had, something like that. Not entirely sure. Trying our best. We are the 2 absolute Korean-speaking failures of the LCK, and it has been brought to very stark relief.
Doesn't T1 just have 2 wins, and that's why they won the third win?
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's probably true.
I'm so happy you're like, let's crack this code together, Chronicler.
Sometimes your brain doesn't work, you know? And well, for me, that's most days.
No. You were trying to figure out the Korean, and because
maybe
of that,
my Korean brain couldn't do math or something like that. That doesn't make very much sense.
No. Don't discredit yourself. We all have oopsies sometimes, and I think that third win is looking pretty decent here. It is a T1 that, while I think still a little bit on the slow side, it does look a lot better with a DRX that I still feel the same way about this team. I feel like we've seen Lulu compositions, right? Like the weird, wacky 80 carry comps. I think maybe at this point you just try the good old front to back. I don't really know. I feel like compositions...
Just don't first pick Renekton.
Yeah, well, that's definitely don't.
Let's start with that, and then we'll adjudicate afterwards.
Get that Rumble.
Yeah,
you know.
I think Rumble's absolutely fine. Set's a pretty good champion, as I've heard around the traps. Heard people saying that Set just seems to win you games.
There have been rumors.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know whether I entirely believe it just yet. Maybe it's not Set.
Don't tell Feldas.
Yeah, bit of sarcasm. Let's see what T1 decided to ban away. It was the Ezreal. Kind of like felt like a throwaway ban a little bit, just to make sure that they could leave up 2 very strong picks on the red side, and they will do exactly the same thing again. Ezreal is still very, very strong. However, okay, we're just, let's run it back. The salty run back has begun. We saw this yesterday. This is what happens now that we have the home and away system, where we don't just swap sides each time. You get to choose which side, and sometimes you get these situations where you just do the same drafts again. Stubbornness might be playing a little bit of a part here, but we'll see what DRX do to deviate this composition.
Well, I have a guess at what's going to get locked in here. I think it's Set Nocturne.
You... Really?
I know. It is truly... I mean, Set Rumble is okay as well.
I mean, Set Diana wouldn't be bad either.
No. But you can pick either, right? Like, you're happy with... If you pick the Nocturne here, you're happy with both Rumble and with Diana.
Yeah.
So whichever DRX pick, you'll be happy, but it's going to be Nidalee again, isn't it?
I think it might be the Rumble. I think maybe Pioshik's going to do it. I think maybe he's going to be like, well, perhaps the Nidalee didn't get off the ganks that we wanted her to, but instead it's just going to be the continuation of the salty run back.
Look at...
Is Tom Kench. Maybe Tom Kench here instead of the Varus?
No, it's going to be Varus. And this is what really, really hurts me. Because you can, I guess, pick up Kench and then... No. What really hurts me is how DRX look. Because something that made DRX a special team, in spring in particular, no matter what the circumstances were, was that even if they were behind, even if they were, doesn't matter what the game state were, they always looked chirp. Pioshik in particular, the man, always looked incredibly happy to be there. And then just now you saw him, it's
not the same.
It's not the same. And if I see this draft, I'm like, well, I am not one to say that, you know, if your draft doesn't work the first time, try it again. However, in this scenario, I think the draft in of itself is a bit of a problem. And
we got a massive change. Massive change. This just in. Thresh banned first, and Tom Kench banned second.
God.
Insanity. I can't believe they've changed so much in this draft. Kalista banned second instead of first. Out of control.
Leona, right?
Well, Leona should now be locked in theoretically.
No way they don't.
If it ain't broke, perhaps don't do anything to mend it. This is like a game of chicken. This is a game of chicken that T1 will just inevitably win. You know?
No!
Oh, God, we are just doing it. Whoa.
Don't lock the Gwen.
Is it Gwen?
No. It will be something different.
Lock.
Pick like Silas is good. Pick Silas.
Silas is fine.
I don't even know.
Nah, that ain't.
No.
Nah, thanks. Nah. Yeah, there we go. Salty run back. Continue it.
You know how bad it...
I'm like listening to the Korean cast, by the way, in the background, and they're just losing their minds. They're like, what? Why is it happening again? Oh, it's so funny. Camille would be hilarious. Teddy's Camille there on the bottom side of the map. That's the change-up that we were looking for.
Oh, pain. You know it's bad. You know it's bad when the casters are like, please pick Gnar. Please do something.
Something to change this.
No.
Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time we've seen the official Salty run back. As salty as it gets. Identical in every single way. Wow. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've witnessed the full run back of exactly the same things.
Losing my mind, Atlas.
Yep. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Well, the nice part about this is that I have a feeling that we can collectively agree upon how these two compositions are supposed to work. And you know what's the best part about this? Is that now we can talk about some of the other things. We can talk about skin choices.
That's true. Maybe that's where the change happens.
There's a swap up there.
I don't know. Maybe we're just in like an we just get a do-over. Maybe this is the teams were like, no, the commentary for the first series just was not good enough. Allow us to do it again, and you guys can have a redo. I appreciate it, you know? Said some weird stuff about crocodiles last time around. Maybe that just wasn't appropriate. So... maybe, yeah, okay. Our producer has just said that we're not allowed to talk about ping pong this time. That was a bit shallow. We didn't really like that. And perhaps we should look into something else. Some other recreational activity, perhaps.
I thought the LCK was a safe space for me to talk about my childhood summer holidays, and I'm very, very upset that
well,
that's not the case.
Only if they're more interesting than that. You can talk about more.
They're not very interesting, so I respect that.
Oh, okay. Break it down for me. Break down the game. Maybe we should just play some music as we show the replay. I don't know.
Elevator music.
Oh my goodness. I was about to say, oh my god, but then said, oh my good instead. Kind of like that Mean Girls gruel moment. Had one of those. Not great. When Gwen first came out, let me run something by you.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to name her Edwina Sizzly.
What?
Like Edward Scissorhands.
You know, You can't do this to me, Atlas.
Is that not allowed? I thought it was kind of cool, but then I was like, yeah, but you got to fit the hands in there somewhere, and it didn't really work. Edwina Scissorhands, maybe just go with that. I don't know. Just thought I'd run it by you.
No, I appreciate that. I thought you were going to take it in the Mean Girls direction. And I'm like, I love talking about Mean Girls. I think it's a great movie, but I feel like it's too early in the game. And this is the problem, is that if you just tune in for this game, you're like, why are these casters not talking about what are we expecting? What do these two comps do?
Well, I
does
imagine
it all work?
Could you imagine if you went off to like, I don't know, go for a run or something, and you'd step back in, so you went off, sort of. You know, 10 minutes into game one, and then like you had to do something, you know, you had chores to do or something like that, and then you come back and you're like, wait a second, did they pause it for me?
Wait, was there a bug? Was there a remake?
Oh, maybe. So now you can see the overlays being fixed, things like that. Maybe this is a production redo. Production gets a redo with the correct overlay. We're going to have the items coming in on the left and the right there, all at the right times and things like that. Faker's health bar is much higher this time around, though. I think that might be a bug.
Is that just what's going to happen?
Yeah, this replay's off. There are things that are changing.
And this time, the gank is coming from the bot side.
Oh, there we go.
And there were pings going down, though, so I think Faker does suspect this.
He's going to flash. There's the follow flash, though, as in goes Pyoshik. Faker trying to get underneath this turret as Pyoshik understands that he's not going to be able to get there. The ramp up of the turret damage was going to be pretty dangerous, but they're not going to be able to grab him. This time, though, they do get a flash. So that's good news.
It's a flash-for-flash trade, and that does provide an additional opportunity for Pyoshik to look for something else. But look at Kana.
Immediate cleanse out from Bao, trying to turn the damage around, not able to get the concussive blows to land, and we are just going to back away to farming.
Yeah, the reason why I said look at Kana is this.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. He's been using his priority very aggressively, which I do quite
Whoa,
like.
that's a big old flash forward. Deadly Flourish is going to connect. Carrier's like, I went on a journey a little bit further than I wanted to this time around, and he will back away. So they get the flash out of the Varus pretty comfortably, and Carrier has the X flash as well as Cuz is down here. Potential Diverino possible, but some high health bars on the DRX members, so probably not going to want to risk it.
Oh, Faker's coming as well, though.
Yeah, this is a big one. Only level 4 on Faker, so not going to be paranoiaing in or anything like that, but Cuz going to walk on around as Carrier gets in there with the Hex Flash, and immediately the kill goes down. They trade it, but they might be able to grab Becker as well, who's trying to get that fancy footwork working. And the Dustbringer just to come through as a parting gift, but this is still good news for T1, because Teddy, he gets to stay in the lane, get all the experience and the gold.
I'm also pretty sure there's a cannon wave, so Faker actually misses out on minimal CS. Teddy, as you pointed out, picks up the kill, a full wave gets denied the bow, so it's not ideal in 1-for-1 trade, but I think you go into that expecting that that might happen as Carrier. Does he walk over the vision here? Yep, he will, and he will probably just...
Oh! No, not going to need a name. Not going to need a name. Going to be taken down immediately. Poor Steven.
It's Steve's cousin.
Yeah. Steve's cousin, who's just a little bit more serious than Steve.
He really has his life together.
Yeah. I love the Hex Splash, just right in their face. Knew exactly what was going to happen there. But decent trade back for DRX.
It's good that they get something out of it. As pointed out, still 100% like cleanly set up by T1. And T1 making pre-10-minute plays in my book is always going to be a huge win. And something that obviously we were too busy joking about the absurdity of two teams running back the exact same draft on the exact same side of the map.
Yeah.
But what we do see here is that T1 more so than DRX, I think, have identified how that first game went. Like, okay, we need to adjust this, and this. And this scenario is like, hey, Teddy and Carrier actually have a lot of pressure on bot side, so we can play around that, right? Cause paths again from top to bot, but this time Faker also sets up the wave in a way where they can play early. There's more aggressive trading going on just to make sure that play can work out. And those are kind of adaptations that you would expect from a team of T1's caliber, but it's good to see them actually execute on it as well, because to me it feels like T1 of like 2 weeks ago would have just been like, no, actually Faker, just keep clearing waves. And at some point you can maybe paranoia down.
Yeah, 70 minutes, that's when we'll really get things going. As unfortunately that was too late in the Nongshim series. This time around though, maybe it's going to be better. Level 6 being picked up here from our solo lanes is Cuz, looking for his as well, desperately wants it, as he is Diana. That Moonfall, very valuable, is Pureshik. Making a bit of an entrance here towards the bottom side of the map. But T1 definitely close enough to their turret to guarantee that they will be safe. So Nidalee going to have to slink back somewhere else, try and find a different avenue for success. I find it's so interesting, because we've actually been a little bit critical of CVMAX in the past of being somewhat stubborn with his drafting choices. I'm going to have to hold my thought for a moment, as Cuz just ease onto Sulka here, and Faker is going to follow up, but it's going to be a mismatched fight here. Not going to be able to grab the kill onto Sulka. Not enough damage with the Haymaker either, as Canna gets there a little bit too late with the teleport. Oh dear! T1 making a big ol' whoopsie in the river. And Cuz is like, well, not going to be able to help you out, guys. I'm sorry. And he's just going to take the Rift Scuttler and get out.
The crucial ultimate not available for Cuz there. He hasn't hit 6 yet, and that means that there is a big opening for DRX. Carrier!
Yeah, looking for a little bit here, but stand beside me. Pretty good. As the grenade is going to dance, but not do too much more than that.
Teddy's 6. His ultimate here.
Yep. Be able to grab that plate. Really do want it, though.
It's going to be fun on the next wave, but I'm assuming we're going to see a replay of the topside fight. It's T1 being a little bit too trigger happy, because while I think this engage is nice, if Faker ults here immediately, I think you can get away with it. But he waits rather long, and now Cuz needs to teleport, which in of itself is not a great outcome. Kana comes in and uses his Haymaker immediately, and in a sense kills Sulka, but that means that the moment that the Haymaker is used, the rest of the DRX now we can just pile in on him. Because if he still has Haymaker, that doesn't work. You can't move up on the set like that. So Kana getting greedy for a kill turns an already subpar play into one that's even worse. But because of the state of the game for T1 previous to that, they're still in an okay shape.
Yeah, they're
not something you want to repeat, and most importantly, T1 needs to make sure that this is not one of those scenarios where they make one misplay and then stop playing the video game.
Yeah, they need keep playing the video game, please. That worked out in game number 1. And remember, guys, game number 1 is a carbon copy of this game, in theory. So, you can just look at what you did right, which was proactive play, getting those team fights in order, making sure that you had all the information necessary. And speaking of which, that's the Moonfall onto Bow on the bottom side. Just too much damage here as Teddy just pops him like a balloon.
Now I just want a balloon skin Jin, you know, where it's like he's a clown and he has a lot of balloons, because that was...
Papa Jin?
Yeah, very, very aptly done. Really nice play yet again by Cuz, who is showing us that the Diana doesn't have to be a weak pick in the early game. Sure, that early play didn't really work out, but as pointed out, I feel like that was more due to Faker being a little bit apprehensive and Kana being a little bit too over-eager. We'll pick up the Drake here. It's the opposite flip of what we saw last time, where it was the first Drake for DRX. This time they do pick up the Rift Herald here, and
it's going to be the same Drakes as well, outside of a potential Mountain Soul that could occur. As if it's an Infernal Soul, it's just going to be the weirdest situation of exactly the same game all over again.
It would make me really sad if it wasn't.
Yeah, I kind of want it to happen now. I feel like we just need to have the same RNG.
We've earned it.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50.
I feel like we're watching T1, like just going for PB attempts of their speedrun. You know, this is the second one. First one wasn't so good. This one, probably a reset, but we're going to see it through. It's very strange. Just the fact that we're getting exactly the same comps over and over again is just really weird.
And the big distinctions with last game is that this time Sulka is very fed early on, which as Renekton you will always be happy about.
Yep.
But so is Teddy. Last time it took Teddy a little bit longer to get to this point. However, right now he is looking peachy. And that lane pressure of the Jin is the reason why it was so easy for them to convert it into an early Drake. And if they can maintain that, so I think we might have some shenanigans going on top side here.
Yeah, I'm just going to go for a back here as pings out. As you can see, DRX knew exactly what was going on. King and not going to overextend or anything like that. Just going to collect this wave and even out the farm very nicely. Protobelt completed now for Cuz. Faker yet to put that Stride Breaker together, as he's coming from base right now. Pretty interesting that he can't afford more items than that. As we're going to have a look at this replay one more time. Yep, Val caught out once again.
It's just really well played by Cuz, you know. Hits his Q, then goes in, waits for about to actually use his flash node that he has it, but he's like, if you're not going to flash, I don't really have to, and follows up perfectly with the Moonfall. Teddy is walking up while the play is happening. No disjointed movements from T1 there as Kaz has snuck his way in here.
Very sneaky. Piercing arrow, Bao just playing as far back as he can. Understands Bao still doesn't have flash. This is certainly a good place for the aggression. As Pioshik is going to note that he assumes there is a Diana on the bottom side and is going to head towards the enemy jungle, but isn't going to be able to get too much done as Teddy now some free time with this outer turret. You can see DRX's bottom lane playing very scared of this Jhin, who, like you mentioned, fairly accelerated in this early stage of the game.
And the good thing about Kaz is you are never going to dive this bot lane, right? It's even without the flash available, the full health, it's an exhaust Brom, and Brom in general is kind of a nightmare to dive. I say as they already did it once at like level 3, but as a whole, I think that just Kaz's presence on the bot side makes it so much easier. Faker might be caught here, but
Pioshik getting over the top, doesn't find the spear as Faker good sidestep. Moonfall's fantastic this time as Faker just throws through the paranoia, and that's a double kill. He had barely the items that Solka had. It's a whip in comparison to the completed Mythic, but he had the friend's assistance, and now Faker's going to have so much more money to spend when he does go home.
Spell Jungle, there's a reason why we talk a lot about that two-man power squad really roaming around the map, and in this case, Kaz and Carry are just at the ready. As DRX is understandable because this is a composition that wants to make its presence known in the mid game, right? We've talked about last game as well. If you fall behind with this comp, it's really, really rough. You need to kind of find pressure, take down the turrets, get control of the enemy jungle, and then from there on out, it's so oppressive to play into because that hard engage from T1 can then never really happen. But it feels like this is a repeat of game number 1, where yes, DRX gets a nice play left or right, but as a whole, T1 is winning on the cross-map plays, is getting the more favorable trades, and yeah, the two plates are nice. They're gonna make the gold lead a little bit less oppressive, but as a whole, it's still not enough.
Yeah, Kingin's gonna find some mist, but then is pulled out of it. Kuz turns up at exactly the right time as the needlework is able to keep Kingin alive for the moment. The ignite, enough to deter Canna from going in any further, and he had to invest the flash into that one, so unable to actually lock down the kill as Kuz just now has the Moonfall backup.
That's Gwen. Has the steel caps rather available. Has the ignite as a way of kind of deterring the set from being a little bit too trigger happy there. Take a look at this play from Fake here, because the setup here is beautiful. You see the pings going down. They know what's going to go down here. Finds a sidestep, and then the moment you see anyone really as DRX, like, oh.
All too easy. I love that he gets to turn off the lights as well.
Yeah, because it means that any possible follow-up from Gwen is just not a thing. Like,
it's like saying no, it's like you are trapped in here with us. It's like shutting the lid on the play. And really expertly baited from Faker. The global taunt, obviously still alive and well, as we have become used to over the years. Kuz going to be able to take down the second Drake of the game, and of course, it's mirrored Drakes. It's literally the rerun.
It's actually perfect.
Yeah.
So what do we call this one?
What do you mean?
Well,
Electric
Boogaloo? Well, yeah, we saw the first movie. Well, I don't know. We haven't settled on the title for that one either.
Yeah, we have to kind of work out whether this is like a Toy Story 2 situation, which is a good sequel. You know, Austin Powers, another good sequel situation.
I feel like sequels generally are pretty decent. I mean,
no, sequels are normally way worse.
Alien? Aliens is an amazing movie.
Oh, right. I mean, that's Terminator. It's a little bit different. But oh, yeah, okay, maybe that's true. But like, think about like a lot of these Disney movies that like Aladdin, for example, woeful. Tarzan, terrible.
I see your point.
Yeah, there's a lot of sequels that are just minimal effort trying to get as much money from a franchise as possible, and that's bad news. But if you like talking like, you know, Lord of the Rings, like that already existed. You know, that's one book that they broke into 3. Tolkien did actually, but still was broken into 3. So that's a little bit of a different story. So yeah, some of those sequels pretty bad. We'll see which kind of sequel this is going to be though. As here's some paranoia.
Teleport!
Great stun onto Becca, who is going to be able to do some decent work there. You can see Bao, once again, it's the same level of 0 protection for the Varus. And DRX knew that, right? But still not going to be able to do anything about it. Sometimes it's about the composition. You know, as Faker's going to dive on top of Kingen, but it's probably not a fight that you really want to take.
It's like, oh wait, this is Gwen. Never mind. I'm out of here.
Yeah, that fear doesn't actually make very much sense because I don't think Kingen was scared at all.
No. It's an involuntary reaction, you know. But
yeah,
Kingen is actually trying to get on top of that Noxian regardless. That is a... Noxian's good in 1v1, but Gwen is, I think, at the moment, the most impressive champion. And this is literally just a repeat. This time it's Faker ulting in and it's Kana teleporting. Last time it was...
that's a solo kill. Okay. Gwen.
No, that's Kingen. I mean, I do think that Gwen is obviously a very impressive champion.
It's a bit of a combo. He is still playing Gwen. I think that is the truth.
But I'm still going to give him credit. I actually know, right? We haven't seen the play, so maybe it was just Faker like walking in and nothing happening whatsoever. And this is the core issue. I think that DRX, as a team today, and this might be a weird statement, I think they look a lot better. I really do. I think that as a whole, this team looks like a team that can actually, because they look completely lifeless, I think, in the last couple of matches.
Yes.
And I think here today, while neither match has been great, and I think that with how the game is currently looking, I don't think their ults in this one are great. Individually, they look a lot better. They're making cross-map plays, they're getting stuff done. Here we go, he waits out the lethal tempo, recognizes that... Wow, okay. Well, no, that's just Gwen, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna say it. Just hit collective, if you could just get your snip IAIs in the chat, that would be fantastic. That's all we need. That's really all we need. Just a bit of that. That'll get the message across. As Kingen now just going... okay, here we go. We're bringing the friends. This time, as Faker doesn't want anything to do with it. Showstopper. Let's see whether this is going to be enough. Some more needlework and a teleport. And Canna might just be dead. If at first you don't succeed, maybe you just do it again and not succeed again. Not entirely sure. They are going to be able to trade it this time, though, as Cuz grabs the kill onto Solka. So 4v4 at this point in time. Faker just using the paranoia to limit the vision of DRX, as he should be able to push towards this top outer turret, and we're going to have mirrored objective takes, I believe. As of course bottom outer and top outer should go down. Teddy though does have the push in the mid lane. Becker is going to move on over and stop him from doing too much more. Captain Audience goes off. Kingen's going to be the first one to grab that turret, but Faker not far behind. And yeah, in the end it's entirely even, I guess, as far as the outcome.
It's actually a pretty nice deny on the back here. And we joke about DRX, but they've not given up. Their bot side control is amazing. Kingen is able to bait out the play here.
Do you reckon we'll get a third time lucky on the try and kill Gwen?
Yeah, I think that's pretty likely. As Solka, a bit disjointed with Faker using the paranoia, as you said, as a deterrent. There's just nothing that you can really do. It's lucky for T1 that this was a minute before the Drake and not during the Drake. Because then we would follow the script in the opposite way, where it will be DRX who would be starting to stack Infernal Drakes. And as pointed out last game, Infernal Drakes for DRX have incredible value to make the composition a much bigger nuisance to deal with. Because need I remind you, Pyoshik, yes, he got a couple of kills, but he did so much damage pre-fights. It wasn't enough, but it was still a lot. If you add Infernal to that, it is a tough sell here, but T1 are looking for sword points, and
yeah, Shirley is just going to be used as a deterrent. That was never going to go off.
No.
As T1 did just abandon her, unfortunately for Shirley fans. As T1 now moving on over. Canna in position here, bottom side of the river. Haven't started the Drakey just yet, but DRX know that they cannot give this one up.
Oh, look at Kana, but the bot side vision is really, really good. There's a lot of wards that are lighting it up, so Kana needs to respect the Gwen.
Yep, Stride Breaker just to get himself out of the way. Kingen's going to move on over and see whether he can get out this set of position. Carry over to the side. That's going to be Soul Point lockdown for T1, but can they escape is the question. The answer may just be yes. There's some more needlework coming on through here. The flash on forward. As Cuz knows that he's dead, may as well press some buttons. But still, just the one kill and Soul Point lockdown for T1. You probably take it if you are on our red side of the map.
Might as well. And this sounds crazy, but even if you lose Baron for this, I think it's still worth it.
Yeah.
As long as they don't snowball too much, you don't make any big mistakes.
Lose Baron?
Yeah. just because of how good the threat of Soul is, right?
Right.
Like, as long as you don't outright lose the game, because that's the exact situation that I've seen a lot of times happen with teams in the opposite direction, as you pointed out. Because it's very dead here. There's no way that he ever lives. Forces out 2 flashes, actually, with that play, so...
Getting Bow's flash is actually huge. That means that he's
really,
fake of
really
food.
big.
He is just fake of food. Really what you want. There's a lot of discoing going on. Teddy's skin as well as Kingan's skin, a lot of discoing. And I just thought that was interesting.
No, it's okay. How do you feel about the genre, disco?
Disco?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. I used to think that the Bee Gees were uncool, and now I think that past me was uncool for thinking that was uncool. The Bee Gees are great. It's a demonstration that I am a bit of a boomer. But as a younger person yourself, are you a Bee Gees fan?
I appreciate them.
Okay. Well, Solka is now just going to try and fight Faker, but Faker's just going to make him scared and run away, which is kind of funny. Because just clearing out vision, nothing really going to happen. So we can talk about disco music again, I guess. But no, some needlework here on the bottom side. Teleport to come through from T1 as maybe Kingan has overstepped. Doesn't have the ulti anymore as he throws out the mist one more time. The fear comes in. It's taking a long time to kill this Gwen, who almost manages to take down Canna. In the meantime, is Teddy going aggressive? Carrier finding Becker as well. That's a big old Zenith blade as the Chains of Corruption come in as well, as everyone just seems to be limping away as we trade in the end. Was that a bit of a fadeaway from Carrier? Not sure. I think it was the last tick of Ignite that managed to take down Becker, as we've got a curtain call just for revenge on Carrier's killer. T1 will be able to lock down this outer turret. So trade in advantage of T1.
It's a bit of a messy one here, Atlas, as Kingan does get taken down, but is able to almost single-handedly drag most of T1's top side with him. As I understand this, but I don't think you ever get away with this if the teleport is up, right? There is no way that as Gwen you ever get out of this situation. The fact that Kana almost dies is just testament to Gwen the champion.
Whoa, that was
yeah, without
alive for another second, and that would have been a 1-for-1, 100%.
And this is the look we haven't seen from T1 in a while, where Teddy is ready the moment that the play comes through, right? As it will be, as we can see here, the final tick of the Ignite, as well as Bao just hitting a basically point-blank arrow.
Yep.
But when the dust settles, and this is a recurring theme in really both of these two games, T1 really get the victory there, right? Like, they pick up 3 kills for 2, or sorry, 3 kills for 1. 2 kills for 1? There we go, 2 kills for 1. Got there in the end.
And an outer turret, which is certainly going to help.
Which is the mid one as well, right? And one of the things that I actually gave DRX praise for, and I think that is one of the reasons why my assessment of them today, even though they might lose this game, might go down 0-2 again, is more positive than it was previously. It's because their vision control has been a lot better. They actually keep looking for plays, right? And it's not where you need it to be yet.
Yeah,
but
it's running back the same comp that just lost the last game, and there were, you know, some reasons as to why, you know, the lack of peel for the Varus, etc., etc. Like, that was definitely a negative. However, I think you're right. With the way that they're playing the game,
that's the main
they are
thing.
looking better than they were in the past.
I avoided the draft conversation on purpose, because I feel like you would have felt...
Sorry, the elephant was like standing there in the room, and he was starting to breathe on me, and his breath was weird, and I just didn't really like it, so I needed to make sure I just chatted to him, so he left.
I get it.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable.
I get it.
Yeah, apologies.
It's okay. Was his name Boogaloo?
I don't know.
Boogaloo the elephant?
I didn't ask him, actually. It was very rude of me. I just addressed him. That was it.
Manners.
Yeah, I know. Honestly. I don't know. Maybe I'm working on my elephant like I'm working on my Korean. I just haven't quite got it figured out yet. As Teddy going to get a little bit of a stun there, but we're starting to siege for DRX. This is something their composition can theoretically do.
No teleport for Fake, and this is a big fight. If you get this as T1, this game is golden.
But Kingan is jumping onto Canna. The Haymaker does a bit of work as he's just going to showstopper the Gwen over the wall and look to continue trying to escape. It's not really going to work as Stridebreaker gets Canna a little bit further. He does have the stopwatch that he sat on for such a long time. Moonfall comes on in here as another stopwatch is there. Kingan going to utilize his, but if Kingan falls here, it is a big problem for DRX. As Solka, he's going to go golden as well. Liga stopwatch well and truly.